case study, just some very specifics on how baggage can work. I know last time we talked about projection, so parents past projection, which is basically bringing your baggage into the present, intensifying any kind of action and making it dysfunctional. So in they're abusive and overprotective families. Caring becomes coddling, discipline becomes abuse, and that intensification is what causes it dysfunctional. Both coddling and abuse, we tone them down. They have elements of healthy parenting, but because they're at such an extreme, because of the parents' own past, they become dysfunctional. So I'm going to talk about a little bit more specifics in a case study here. So another word for baggage, different words you can describe it: pain, fear, past, craving. Different words for them. But as a case study, I use my own father. I studied him pretty in detail. So his past, some relevant history is picked on at school. I think he had a fetal alcohol syndrome. Very low stature, low physical presence, so just kind of attracted bullies almost. Grandfather beat his wife and beat him too. So he comes from his own abusive environment, and so the central idea here is the demon is not faced by the father; it will be passed on to the son. And that's a Chinese proverb. So there are different things that he looked up to, that he role modeled, that he idolized, that had relevance in his own behavior. General Patton, I know, was one of his major role models. A man he looked up to, he had respect for. Baron von Trapp is another relevant male role model almost for him. And if you remember from The Sound of Music, just very strict household, very by the numbers, and very structured environment. It's almost like he embodied these like insecurely, like he wanted to be seen as General Patton and General von Trapp, but he never really thought that he was those people. So there was this was done out of an insecurity. He was thinking maybe that if other people saw him as these people, that he would command that same kind of respect. Of course, the reality was just presented universally, and very domineering environment, control. So when we talk about general emotional motives driving this behavior, we talk there's a Freudian principle called pain-pleasure principle, or the pleasure principle. But this is carrot and stick motivation. So I'm afraid of being subordinate. I want to feel important. So this is desire and fear, character, or carrot and stick. They're reflections of one another. I'm afraid of losing control. I want to feel control. So this also came, really same emotional, motivational dynamic as his own father, but just very intense, which drove very extreme behaviors and extremes of parenting. So even the way that behavior works. Emotions feed the mind feeds emotions. There's a feedback loop between, there's two sides of your brain, rational and emotional. So the rational side is beliefs and maps of the world. The emotional side is drives, desires, and fears. And together you navigate the world through those two brain sides. So on the rational side, his beliefs reflected his intense emotions. So I believe children are to be seen and not heard. You could see the kind of logic, but it's kind of like this, manifesto for tyrants almost. You can see that you would want a child to respect his parents because of just the time difference and the maturity difference. But if the parent is a child, is an immature parent, then this becomes control. This becomes, you're going to listen to me, and I'm not going to listen to you at all. And this is a one-way street all the time. And this is still the same dynamic he forces on people, even today. Another belief is, I believe you have to control a woman for her to stay with you. Again, I think there's a fundamental fear in my own father that, if you don't control somebody else, they're going to leave you because, you're unworthy, you're worthless, you're not deserving of love or whatever. And so in order to compensate for that, because he believed that fear, then one way to not get people to leave you is to get them to hate themselves, get them to have low self-esteem, so they're afraid to leave you. So this is the reliance on fear is unsustainable. You'll be around somebody, but you won't be in a relationship with them. And that's really the dysfunctional side of fear. Like, you can get things done, but it won't be in a healthy way. It's kind of like the motivation. It's kind of like a fossil fuel almost. You can build anything you want with a fossil fuel, but you're going to pollute the hell out of your environment and cause global warming and die. So, you'll get what you want, but you're going to kill yourself in the process and not really get what you really want. I believe you have to put your hands on a woman to show her who's boss. Again, this is more domineering, egoistic, narcissistic nonsense. It's a reflection of insecurity. It's another person. You're not there to break them or control them. It's insanity, and it's childish. So this is what people really have to see, the fundamental immaturity of this. I know it's a grown man in a grown man's body, but these are children's fears. This is childish, immature behavior, and you kind of have to pierce through all the seriousness, and he's a very intelligent guy. It's just he's not doesn't know himself very well. He just doesn't manage himself at all. He's factually intelligent, but not emotionally intelligent, not self-intelligent. So there's some ideological flaws here, and these are called thought errors in cognitive behavioral therapy. But they tend to build on themselves. I think if you really look at them, they accelerate, they build on each other. So it's almost like the more virus-ridden the computer is, the more open and exposed it is to viruses. So I think children are objects to meet your needs. Again, we're not seen as people. We're seen as subordinates to serve him. We're there. We're just objects. We're robots in his story. This is just it's a selfish, childish, me-centric worldview, lack of empathy for other people. So again, he's never really in a healthy give and take relationship in these situations. The same relationship to women are objects to meet your needs, body needs, and just servant, to be subservient. They're there for the glorification of your ego, trying to control another human as opposed to healthy confrontation and guidance. Anytime you have two people trying to work together in a family, in a relationship, in a business, you're going to have differences. You're going to have areas where you need to confront, you need to guide. When you have a higher level of skill in some area, you're going to want to show good leadership, show good guidance. When somebody's not doing something, should be doing something better, and you need to be confronted, there's healthy confrontation. When you're trying to control another person, that means you're always right, the other person's always wrong. That's control. That's unhealthy. At that point, you're the dysfunctional partner. The never-ending need to have his ideal identity reflected back to him. So, mature people accept themselves first. They don't rely on other people, because as soon as you start relying on the world and other people to reflect your identity back to you, then it's a never-ending need. So you're going to push and grasp and grab and cling on to that and force people to tell you that you're important and you're in control. And either you break them and you get them to tell you that, but you're not in a relationship, you don't have a good connection at that point, and you're not happy, or they reject you, and so now you're not anchored, you have less than before. So this fear feeds itself. The more you grab, the more you grasp, the more you lose. And so this is kind of like the paradox of life. It's almost seems unfair, but that's the way things are. The more you push, the more you lose. Starting from scarcity, nothing was ever enough. There was never enough importance. There was never enough love for him in the world. There was never enough control. So that just comes from not accepting yourself first again. One of the basic emotional tenets of self-management is to be accepting of yourself, and then you can welcome anybody else's acceptance. But if you need that, once you're dependent on another person to need that, and you're asking that from somebody else, at that point, even if you get it, it's not enough. And you have to accept yourself first, and that's really one of the most fundamental things about of life, of self-management. And this can go on. I mean, this is a never-ending baggage claim cycle. So this is why, as a therapist or a counselor or even an organization dealing with this pattern, is this something that you want to go into? It's a legitimate question. You can get marred down in this. This is like dealing with the past is almost like trench warfare. It's a war of attrition. If that's all you're focused on, and you don't start teasing about patterns really quickly, then you can just get stuck there and not focus on present problems, present approaches, different frames, different role models. So the past has its place, but keep the end. Begin with the end in mind. The end in mind is to get a healthy, functioning family, as healthy as possible, on a positive growth curve, or to stop a negative spiral. So just see that as the end. Just understand. People can go through psychotherapy for years and years and never get to the bottom of this. So, and I'll talk about different strategies for getting through faster and faster, but each family, I think, is going to have a different right solution for how far you want to dig into a past in order to correct a present action. And so, I mean, that's an ongoing debate, and it should be debated, because it's hard to have a right answer. Hopefully in the future they'll have better tests to see kind of what the right action for each family is in any situation. That way, a therapist or counselor can go in with a plan attuned to the family specifically. So there are three ways around this past parent baggage. When you deal with a baggage issue, you can go around it, over it, through it. And I'll discuss this in a little bit more detail later. But over is you're just looking to contain the situation. The family's not open to change. The parents aren't open to change. So you basically just want to keep things from getting worse. Around it means you start over, start a new page, go through it. Means you sort through the past baggage, as fast and as effectively as possible, and you move through it. So that's just the overview of the solution. I'll get into more details later on, but that's parental past baggage. Thanks for listening.